let's just start before I actually chicken out. Fucking hell. Do I tell you how weird this is? I feel like everybody has seen the Avatar: The Last Airbender 2024 live action at this point, and it feels like Netflix just took like the best parts from the entire three books or three seasons of the show and kind of just put it together, and it feels like such nostalgia bait, not in the best way. I'm just going to talk about what I liked and what I didn't like. There are a lot of dislikes, unfortunately. My credentials are that I just really love this show. I've been watching it since it came out in like, I don't know, 2000 and let me actually make sure. I think 2007. I could be wrong. Let's do a little Google search. 2005. And I was 5 years old. I don't know when I started watching it. I just know I've been watching it for a very, very long time. And since it came on Netflix in I think 2020, 2021, I've made the effort to watch it every year. I'm currently rewatching it now after I saw the not the original, the 2024 version of it. You know what? I'm just gonna refer to it as live action and the original, because if I have to say 2024, it's gonna get annoying. And I know there's another live action that was directed by M. Night Shyamalan, but we're not going to talk about that at all. Because in my mind, that does not exist. You know what? Let's just have Google tell me what the fuck the show is about. Because I feel, yeah, here it is. Here it goes. According to Google,
Four elemental nations are at war with each other, and only the Avatar, master of all four elements, can restore peace. The new Avatar comes in the form of Aang, who strives to fulfill his destiny.
That's it. After Last Airbender is one of those shows that truly has stood the test of time. Like, I mean, the show's been out for like, what, nearly 20 years now? And it's absolutely fucking amazing that a show that's quote unquote made for children, it deals with such heavy topics in such a concise way that anyone can understand it, from kids to adults. And it just, I would say it's even better watching the show as an adult, just because a lot of the more adult jokes that they put in there is, you understand it, and it's just, it's a good show. It's amazing. I've, again, been watching it for many, many years. It's one of my favorite things in the entire world. And Netflix decided to make a reboot of it. Did we need this reboot? No, I don't think so. In my opinion, I don't really think so. I don't think we needed it. But then again, I would have said, instead of making a new live action, to just continue the show. Because if you didn't know, the creators of the show, they created a bunch of graphic novels that basically take place directly after the ending of the final episode of the third season of the show. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about what I liked and what I didn't like, because why not? Because I feel like a lot of people have a lot of thoughts and feelings on it, and I've avoided watching any of the YouTube videos just so that I could have my own thoughts and feelings, and I didn't have anything kind of influencing it. But I feel like a lot of us, particularly people that are quite diehard fans, have similar takes. I will be nitpicking a lot, so be warned. It's just because I truly love the show, and it's not to shame any of the actors that are part of it. It's not trying to say that Netflix shouldn't have done this and this is the most horrible thing that's ever happened. No, it's just my opinion as somebody who truly loves the original and who didn't fully like the live action. So let me start off with things that I did like, so that I don't just say a bunch of bad things. First of all, I would say the casting was quite good, like really good. I think some of my favorite casting decisions were like Suki, Zuko, the Freedom Fighters were impeccable. Like it felt like they just took them from the original and put them in live action. I really enjoyed their casting. Aang Gyatso, their relationship was amazing. The actor who plays Aang, I think it's something I'm going to get into later in my dislikes, but I feel like if he had better dialogue, he would have been an even better Aang. But for what he was given, I think he did quite well with the resources that they gave him. Him and Gyatso's relationship, the actors really embodied that father figure son relationship. It was amazing. Orancha, who plays Jude in the live action, amazing. She feels like Jude. That's just Jude. I cannot tell you anything otherwise. Zhao, I cannot remember the actor's name, but if I remember correctly, I think he was in Star Wars. He did a great job. I think the people that were in like the people that were in the like Zuko, Iroh storyline, so mainly the people from like the Fire Nation, I feel like they were well cast and they did quite well with their roles. The fighting skills, impeccable, amazing. Zuko, I'm pretty sure the actor is well versed in martial arts and stuff like that, so he did fucking incredible. I really love the exterior shots, especially the southern air temple. Like when I saw it for the first time, gasped. It was amazing. Loved it. It was so pretty. To be honest, CGI was actually not that bad, especially Momo and Appa. I was quite concerned, but for the most part, it felt like Appa and Momo were there. It felt real, especially Appa. My favorite episode was episode 5, mainly because of the visuals. I think they really brought Heibai and Ko. They brought them to life very well, and I feel like this is where all of Netflix's budget went to. It was stunning. It was absolutely stunning. I think episode 2 or 3, the episode with Lu Ten, I think that's episode 2 or 3, I can't remember. And then episode 5, out of the 8 episodes that we have, those are my 2 favorite episodes. The bending was actually quite good, particularly the fire bending. I felt like some of the bending just felt slow, particularly like the earth bending and the water bending at times. I feel like they put their entire efforts into making the Fire Nation just look so badass, in my opinion, even though they're not the good guys. Iroh and Zuko's relationship was, I think, one of my favorite parts of the show. Just as much as I enjoyed Aang and Gyatso's father figure son relationship, I also really enjoyed Iroh and Zuko's. I just think that they had some of the greatest scenes. They were given the best dialogue, in my opinion. One of my favorite scenes is when Zuko has just been banished, and Iroh goes on the boat, and Zuko's like, "Why are you here? Like, you have an entire life in the Fire Nation. You should stay there. Like, there's nothing here for you." And then Iroh delivers one of my favorite lines of the show when he says, "Everything I need is on this boat." And then they decide to play Leaves on the Vines in the background. Fuck you, Netflix. Why did you need to do that? I was in fucking tears. Jail. One of my favorite scenes of the entire show, and there's not a lot to go on other than that. Another one that includes Iroh and Zuko is when Zuko has just been permanently scarred by his dad, and Iroh's with him, and then Ozai comes in and is like, "No, I want to see my son." And then Iroh says he doesn't really want to see you, and he's not really in a condition to see you. And then Ozai goes, "He will recover." And then Iroh says, "But he'll never heal." The writers ate with that one. The writers ate with that one. I genuinely, I was like, damn. So I'm going to talk about my dislikes for the show. For the dislikes, I'm going to put them in like a tier list. Think Abbey Lee pyramid type thing. I'm going to go from like least worst to most worst, in my opinion. And on the bottom of the pyramid, in terms of my dislikes, I'm going to start with the actor who plays Sokka. I'm not going to get into this too much just because I'm not Indigenous, and I'm not part of that community, so I can't really say much. I'm not fully clued up. I'm not aware. But According to a couple people that I've seen on TikTok who've talked about this, who are indigenous, and they've said that the actor who plays Sokka apparently isn't indigenous and has allegedly lied about it.
We've known about this issue ever since the actor was announced to be the person who's going to play Sokka. Everybody was like doing their research, trying to figure out which indigenous community he's from, who claims him, what's the deal, because obviously this was already a colorism issue. But yeah, it's also an ethnicity issue because he's straight up like not even ethnically indigenous. So I've talked about the white Sokka situation on my account before, but if you want to read some articles, I recommend reading this article that talks about the history of white people falsely claiming to be Cherokee in this nation. It explains a lot of the socio-political context as to why there is fake Cherokee tribes out there, and there's a lot of them. And this article specifically mentions the actor who is playing Sokka in the Netflix show, and how there's an entire team of people out there whose job it is to help Native actors survive Hollywood and making sure that anybody who says that they're Cherokee is actually Cherokee. And they mention how with the case of this actor, they were never contacted, and the tribe that is the only one that's been associated with this actor so far is not a actual Cherokee tribe. The Cherokee community does not claim that tribe.
That kind of rubbed me the wrong way, just because I feel like Netflix has the resources and has the time to properly look for somebody to play the correct race that is supposed to represent Sokka as a character. This role was taken away from someone else who is indigenous and who could have actually, you know, been shown representation. Next on the pyramid, we've got Zuko's fucking scar. How many times are we gonna get this wrong? Every single time. It feels like we just get it wrong. Because in the M. Night Shyamalan disaster, it kind of just feels like they put bronzer and like purple blush together and then just put it on his face. Whereas in this one, it's improved, it's better, but it's not how it's supposed to be. It just feels like it's a rash instead of a proper scar. Because to me, it just makes sense if Zuko was burned that close up with fire, it would be, I feel like it would be worse. It would have like ridges. I've been watching the original. I started watching, I think, yesterday. I'm about halfway through the first season, and every single time Zuko's on screen, I try and look at his scar and just see, just to see what it's like. That makes sense. Like, I'm trying to properly evaluate it, comparing it to the live action, right? And Zuko's scar in the original goes up until his ear, and his eye is like it's like smaller than the other one. This would have been such a cool opportunity to show Zuko as somebody who has an impairment. Because to me, Zuko has an impairment, because there's no way that you get burnt and you receive the scar that bad that it doesn't affect his sight and his hearing. Because it, in my opinion, it should be. It should have, I'm pretty sure it does affect his sight and his hearing. And it would have been so cool to see how Zuko can still be a badass and be this amazing fighter and this amazing warrior, but still struggle with like hearing loss, maybe struggle to see properly out of his eye. I just feel like that was a missed opportunity. Maybe I'm reaching, but yeah, it's every single time. It's not as horrible again as the previous live action, but it could have been so much better. Next on the pyramid, we've got the Liu 10 inclusion. In my opinion, why was this even here? Why was this even here? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that something that happens in the second book is included in the first season. And apparently, I'm not sure if it's been confirmed. If they do get a second season, what the fuck are they going to do in season 2? What are you going to do? Because you've already traumatized us in season 1 with this. Tales of Ba Sing Se is one of my top 5 favorite episodes. Well, I'd say it's top 5. And the fact that they used that, and they didn't even use the whole thing, because if you don't know about the Tales of Ba Sing Se, it's basically a bunch of short stories. It's like an anthology series of what's going on when all the gang is in Ba Sing Se, and everybody has these like little stories of what's going on in their lives in that time. Each character gets to deal with kind of something they've been carrying with them for a while, whether it's like grief or feeling inadequate or just, you know, stuff. I do think it was mainly used to like show the audience the relationship dynamic between Iroh and Zuko, but it could have been done in a different way. It could have been done in a way that doesn't mess with my feelings, because why was I in tears because of this? It's a very emotional episode, and every single time I hear Leaves from the Vines, I genuinely will cry on sight. Next on the pyramid, we've got the dialogue, because what the fuck? It was so strange. It felt like they took parts from different, or they took dialogue from different parts of the, like all 3 seasons of the show, of the original, and just put them together so that they're like, ooh, references. If you get it, you get it. If you know, you know. I didn't like that. It doesn't make sense. It just feels like they're trying to, again, nostalgia bait us and just, I don't know, it felt like somebody at Netflix was like, you guys are not going to get a season 2, so do a lot with this first season. And they just mushed things together. Also, the line delivery was interesting, to say the least. I'm going to mainly blame it on the script. I would say some people delivered their lines better than others. Also, something that goes along with the dialogue, I would say it feels like they just took away all the silliness and the goofiness and the humor of the show that I feel like is such a vital part of the show, because at the end of the day, it is a kid show. It is a cartoon. Apparently Netflix was trying to make it feel like Game of Thrones. As somebody who's seen like 1 episode of Game of Thrones and never decided to continue again, it feels like you're trying to cater to an audience that is more adult, which I can see that. I can see that you want to branch out. But at the end of the day, the thing that makes Avatar's Airbender so special is that it can cater to so many ages, and it is still considered a show for children. And trying to make it not a children's show, it just takes away that the innocence that the show has, like the way that it can convey such heavy topics in such a concise manner, not a childlike manner, in a simple way, right? So that everyone can understand what's going on. So making it more like dark and edgy, it's just annoying, and I feel like it's dumb. And they took away Aang's entire personality. It's gone. Because from the get-go, Aang is like, yep, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go and save the world. I'm gonna put a stop to the Fire Nation. And it's like, what happened to the Aang that just wanted to play? I recently watched, as I've been saying, I'm rewatching the first season. And seeing the contrast between live action Aang and original cartoon Aang, it's very jarring. Because original Aang, literally, the first thing that he does when he wakes up from being in I was gonna say snow globe. the rock. I don't fucking know. What's it called? The ball of ice. It's blank. What's it called? Iceberg. Yeah, I think. When he wakes up from the iceberg, he literally, the first thing that he tells Katara is that he's like, hey, do you want to go penguin sledding with me? And then throughout the entire first couple episodes, all Aang wants to do is just play. Because at the end of the day, he is a 12-year-old boy who, before knowing that he was an avatar, or he was going to be the avatar, he was just the fun-loving friend. He was just the friend that wanted to go play, and that's very on brand for a 12-year-old. I feel like they also took away Katara and Sokka's sibling banter, and Katara's entire personality got changed. Everybody's just so fucking serious, and I don't like it. It feels like no one is like teasing each other, no one's having banter. It's just gone. I get that it's supposed to be this very serious thing that they're going through, but we can still laugh in the tragic times. We can still have little jokes, and they did have their bits where they were joking, but it's not the same. It feels like very stiff, and they just sucked the entire humor out of the show and made it too super serious. Next, we have the unnecessary early introductions of characters, mainly being Azula, Ty Lee, May, and the Fire Lord. May, Ty Lee, and Azula, I'm pretty sure, only get introduced in the second season, and obviously they become very substantial characters of the show. It just feels like they were like trying to really get everyone to watch the show because they're like, oh, your favorite characters are here. And it just feels unnecessary to have them there because they genuinely do not contribute anything to the plot. You could take them out and the show would still be fine without them. This is no shade to the actors. I think they did quite a good job with picking who plays Azula, May, and Ty Lee. I think the actors were quite good, but it just didn't need to be there. They didn't need to be there. There was no need. The foreshadowing of Azula's like breakdown, is it just me? Because I feel like I can't be the only one that saw that. Or they were like trying to foreshadow that it was gonna happen. Like, you're supposed to be so scared of Azula for the first, for the season that she's in, and then you slowly get to see her progress into somebody that is mentally not okay. To talk about Fire Lord Ozai, I watched a video by a creator called Kayla Says, and in the video they mentioned how they were also talking about Avatar Last Airbender and how they weren't sure about the new live action. And in the video they mentioned that it feels weird that Fire Lord Ozai gets introduced so early into the show, because for the first season at least, he is literally behind a firewall. He's just this like mysterious figure for a good chunk of the show, and all you do hear is hear his voice. And then by I think season 3, I can't remember. He pulls like a Thanos and is like, fine, I'll do it. And then he shows up and he's like this big bad character. And it helps with like this anticipation of his character, and also it helps to really just have him being seen as this very looming character in the background who is the leader of destruction. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I get that they were trying. I do think they were trying to just get people to watch the show, because in the new live action they cast Daniel Day-Kim. I mean, that did intrigue me to go and watch the live action. I loved Daniel Day-Kim. I think he's incredible, but I didn't also think that Netflix knew what they were doing by making Fire Lord Ozai attractive, because now I can guarantee you now, if I go on TikTok right now, the amount of thirst edits that I'm gonna see, it's concerning. It's gonna be concerning, but it's fine. No, it's not fine. It's not fine. We shouldn't be thirsting over a war criminal, a dictator. Next, we have the girl bossification / the feminist storylines that they had going on. Now, let me get something straight. I'm all for changing storylines and changing plot lines if it feels outdated, if it feels like it won't fit for a newer audience, if it's very much, it didn't age well, right? This is where a debate comes in, because everybody is kind of on opposite ends of the conversation when it comes to, for example, Sokka's sexism, or the sexism storyline that's surrounding Sokka. And a lot of people are either against it or for it being in the show. I am somebody who's for it. I think it is a very intricate part. I think it's a very intricate part of his character. and I don't get why people are trying to dismiss it. Also, it's not that big of a part of his like character. Yes, for the first season, he has a lot of sexist tendencies towards his sister and towards a lot of women, and that he thinks that men are the ones that need to be the providers and the warriors and the protectors, which makes sense. Why does it make sense? Because Sokka was left alone as the protector of his village when his dad and all the other warriors left. If you literally watch the first season of the show, you can see, of the original, you can see that Sokka is one of the few boys his age that can look after the village. At least he's one of the older boys, so yeah, he has to look after all the people of the village because there's no one else to do it. His dad left him in charge. He's very protective of his sister, rightfully so. So yeah, he's going to have a lot of ideologies about what it means to be a man and the roles between men and women. It just makes sense. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me why he would be sexist just based off of the environment he grew up in and the environment that he was left with. I think Netflix is trying to like change this whole thing so that they could get on the whole feminist rhetoric. And I'm like, no, because it makes sense. Because by the third episode of the first season of the original show, he's already humbled by when they go, is it third episode, whatever, when they end up going to Kyoshi Island and Sokka sees the Kyoshi warriors and he's like, where are the men that attacked us? And then Suki's like, babes, it was us, not them. I don't know who you're talking about, it was us. And throughout the entire episode, he's just baffled that a bunch of girls are the ones that like kidnapped him and his friends and are basically the warriors of this island. Until he gets very quickly humbled when he joins Suki's like their warrior practice session, and he gets humbled very fucking quickly. Okay? And he then later comes to Suki literally on his knees, and is like, hey, I'm sorry, I was an asshole, can you like teach me? And he dresses up, he wears the full uniform, he wears the traditional face makeup, and he becomes a Kyoshi warrior. He trains like a Kyoshi warrior. That is the first step of his character growth. Truly and actually, that is the first step. And by the end of the show, he is very much aware that every single woman in his life could kill him in the blink of an eye. He is very respectful of women. He understands that they can do 10 times more than he can. And taking that away kind of takes away the purpose, that takes away his character growth. And it kind of sucks that it's just reduced to him having to, I don't know, he's just the protective older brother. Why was it that Suki was the one that, how should I say, that like initiated Sokka being not part of, but like training with the Kyoshi warriors? Because it just feels like so, I don't know what the rhetoric is supposed to be, and I don't know what they were trying to do with that. Also, the other feminist storylines that they tried to insert, the girl bossifications, was Katara and Yue. I don't even know what to say. Then when we got to like episode 7 and episode 8, which features the Northern Water Tribe, I kind of just checked out. I'm like, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm so over this. So when they told us that Yue is a spiritual leader and she can bend, apparently, I think, and I'm just like, why? Like, I understand wanting to give her more substance, but I think her characterization in the original made kind of sense, that she was this princess who is from a very traditional background and she didn't really have a lot of choice in her life, and she's in an arranged marriage. She's not allowed to do a lot in terms of, I don't know, movement within her castle, and she can only do so much. But it was an interesting storyline if you compare it to Katara, who is from another water tribe, and she would kind of be perceived as somebody who's higher up just because her dad is quite high up in their tribe. But Katara has a lot more freedom in her tribe, and there's not a lot of traditional roles in their tribe. But again, their tribe is smaller compared to the Northern Water tribe. It would have just been fine if she was just a princess that was who was put into a situation, who was born into a situation where she didn't have a lot of choice. And it would have been more interesting, in my opinion, if they put more emphasis on how she felt being told who to marry, what to do, and how her life had already been planned out from the moment she was born. I feel like that would have been so cool to add nuance to her character in that way, instead of just trying to say that she is this like warrior in her own right and she does this and that. Because at the end of the day, I do think Yue is a badass because she does sacrifice herself for the greater good by the end of the show. That's just my take. That's just my take. I get what Netflix was trying to do, but I think there's a greater opportunity to give more nuance to Yue and to somebody who is born into that type of family. And yeah, it would have been cool to see. With Katara, I feel like I don't even know what to say. Genuinely, I just feel like the character has been changed so much, because where's Katara's feistiness? Where is her anger? Where is her passion for people and for what's right? It's gone. Can we talk about how Gurley mastered water bending in like 2 seconds? What? It doesn't make sense that she, after like 2 episodes, she's just really good at what she does. And one thing that really pissed me off was when we got to the Northern Water tribe, who is known for being very, like, their waterbenders are really good at what they do. They have a really strong army. We get there, and homies apparently don't know. Homies apparently just don't know what to do. And when Katara fights Master Paku, that was, jeez, I hated that. I hated it. The oomph wasn't there. There was no, I'm going to fight a bitch. She didn't have that energy of, I'm going to fight this man. I do not care. I do not care that he's 20, 30, 40 years older than me. I do not care. Not 20. I like that she was like, I don't care that this man is like 40 years older than me. I don't care. I'm going to fight him, because how dare he? The energy was not there. And also implying that the women, the healers of the Northern Water tribe, want to be warriors. I feel like both conversations can be true, where yes, there are healers in the Northern Water tribe that don't agree with the whole rhetoric around men are the only ones that can fight. I'm pretty sure that that is a thing. I'm pretty sure there are people, the women healers are like, yeah, we agree with you. This is stupid, but what can we do? This is just how it works in our village. But then it felt like the minute Katara enters the healing thing, the healing hut, and explains that this is weird. Like, why the hell is it only women? Like, why can't women fight? That was the thing that apparently woke them all up and made them realize this is actually not really cool. We should actually, we should be able to fight. It took Katara to tell you that this is weird and you should actually stand up for yourself. It feels like Katara is this person that's telling women how to stand up to the patriarchy. I find it very hard to believe that this little 13, 14-year-old girl is the first person to bring up the topic about how sexist the whole entire thing is. Like, I feel like there is somebody has been saying this and just, hasn't been understood or heard because, well, they just live in a more traditional society in the Northern Water tribe. Number 2, our second place for what the fuck is Gran. The way that the show had a telling problem. All it did was just tell you. It's like it looked at you and was like, you're too stupid to understand nuances and to understand just basic context clues. So we're gonna have a character fucking explain everything to you. When she pulled out, when Katara found the fucking waterbending scroll in her bag, I nearly chucked my phone to the wall because what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean? What the fuck do you mean? That she just gave her the waterbending scroll. You had this the entire time. Because to me it doesn't make sense. If you had the scroll the entire time, why did you not give it to her earlier? Why did you not give it to her earlier? Tell her you can only practice in secret so that she could slowly start building up her bending. If you all were fully aware that Katara is the last waterbender of your village, why did you not secretly just train her? If you had this fucking scroll the entire time. Like, it felt like Netflix didn't have the budget. No, they did have the budget. They put all their money towards, their entire budget towards the CGI. Because clearly they didn't put their money towards the writers. Because this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Other than the waterbending school, the one that really got to me was when Aang first shows up and they're like wondering who is this? And she just starts, she's like, yeah, I can see that he's an airbender. This is the Avatar. No one knows what the Avatar looks like. They know he's an airbender, yes. But how do you not know that some airbenders didn't escape? How are you aware that this one person is the Avatar? And then, like I said, I've been watching the original from the beginning. In the original, Gran knows jack shit. Gran is just there. She's just there to give her little wisdom, to tell her kids, like, yeah, you should go with the Avatar and go try and save the world. That's it. No waterbending scroll, no giving info that no one knows, and she just magically knows. And when she fucking started saying the intro to the show, I was like, you guys are doing too much. You guys are doing too much. I get it. I get this was supposed to be your little nod, your little nostalgia bait, your little like hooray moment, but it was so dumb. It was so dumb. Why? After that monstrosity, you're like, what the fuck is there left to talk about that you didn't like? The thing that really took the cake, the number one spot for me of things of what the fuck did you just do, Netflix, was the fucking manual. So basically, Zuko somehow managed to find out a bunch of information about past Avatar. I don't know where the fuck he got this information from, and wrote it all down in a notebook. I'm referring to it as a manual because that's what it is to me. He wrote all this information down, and then when he captured Aang was like snooping around trying to escape, and then he found Zuko's room, found the notebook manual thing, and was like, I'm going to take this because it's got some valuable information in it. And he starts using this thing like a fucking textbook. Okay? Every single time he's like, what should I do? Like, what's the Avatar state? Like, I don't know what to do. I'm so confused. They literally just flipped through this fucking manual to find the answer. Where's the struggle? Where's the I don't know what to do? Where's the character growth? It makes it so much easier for him to then just quote unquote be the Avatar. There's no going here, going there, trying to figure out what to do. There's no growth. There's no mistakes that he can make because you can just look at a fucking book to find the answer. I've never been so annoyed in my life. That manual? Really? I don't know if the manual was used as a way to get around going and doing certain things in the show, if that makes sense. So like maybe some things in the show was difficult to kind of bring to life in live action, so just having a manual was easier to do. So for some honorable mentions, because there is still more stuff, but I don't feel like I have enough context of to like fully explain why certain things, like why these things I just disliked. So here are some honorable mentions of things that I disliked that have little to no explanation, because these are some of the things that I don't know what to say to them. I don't know if I could fully give them more context. Number 1, burning people alive and the genocide scene in particular. With the current climate of things that are going on in so many countries, Palestine, Congo, Sudan, I feel like that was very fucking unnecessary to include. There's enough contextual clues that we as an audience could have deciphered what was going to happen. It was just very difficult to watch, and I skipped a lot of it. And I know that Netflix and the people that were creating the scene weren't aware, or at least I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they weren't fully aware of what was going on. I'm pretty sure this was filmed like years in advance. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I do feel like it should have been cut. Also, yeah, the burning people alive thing. I feel like that was a lot. Number 2, the pacing was weird. That's what happens when you combine like multiple episodes and just put them into one. Number 3, there was no yip yip. Like, how the fuck did Katara and Sokka know to make Appa fly in like the first episode when Aang's captured? Appa literally just flew. Number 4, the Fire Lord redemption arc. Like, what are you guys trying to do here? What was Netflix trying to do here? This one I'm going to explain a bit because it doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like when they were showing us the Agni Kai, there's a part where it seems like Fire Lord Ozai has like tears in his eyes. I think some of you people in the writing room of Netflix have forgotten the crimes that Fire Lord Ozai has committed. So here's the list of his crimes. Number 1, he pits his children against each other from literal birth. Number 2, child abuse, which also includes emotional and physical abuse, because I feel like you forget that he literally burnt his son and permanently scarred him because he just spoke out against sending their warriors to a certain death. And he was like, no, you can't treat our people like that. So you permanently scarred your child and then banished him and sent him on a wild goose chase. Because at that time, finding the Avatar was impossible. So he was genuinely just chasing a child away. Number 3 is a bit of a spoiler if you're somebody who hasn't seen the original show, but it is revealed that he does kill his own father to ascend to the throne. There's a lot of backstory to that. Basically, long story short, Iroh had lost a son and he was supposed to ascend to the throne, but I feel like he didn't. If I remember correctly, he didn't want to, or he couldn't, or something. And then Ozai is the second born. Got upset with his dad and was like, that's not fair. I have kids, they're alive. Why can't I just ascend to the throne? And Ozai does what Ozai does, and he gets his way. So he made sure he got his way, and he killed his dad. And then number 4, this is also another spoiler for later in the show. Zuko's grandfather basically told Ozai, I can't remember what happened, but essentially, I think he just didn't think that Zuko was tough enough, or I don't know, he was disrespectful or something, and then told Ozai to kill his own child. And was Ozai not very willing to do that if it weren't for Zuko's mother, who was like, whoa, no, you're not killing our kid. So that's just a gentle reminder of this man's crimes before you're trying to give us this like redemption arc. I get he is quite a complex character, but not that complex. At the end of the day, he's still a war criminal and a dictator who doesn't care about anyone but himself. I don't even know what number we are on the honorable mentions, but I'm just going to rapid fire this. Why is everybody so intense? Why is everybody so intense? Especially the avatars. Bumi Kyoshi, I know Bumi's not an avatar, but why is everybody yelling? all the avatars are stressed. The last episode in general was just unnecessary. I just, what the fuck was going on? And last but not least, there's no romance. For nobody except Sokka. When I say romance, I am the first person to tell you that I'm not a Katara Aang stan, okay? I am one of those Utara people, but I can also accept that it will never happen, okay? I see the potential, but I'm also cool with it never happening. But where is Aang's little crush on Katara? Where is it? Aang is supposed to be an awkward little 12-year-old with a crush. Okay, it's adorable. But yeah, overall, I don't think it's a horrible show at all. I know I've said a lot and I've yelled a lot, but it's not a horrible show. Well, obviously we cannot compare it to the M. Night Shyamalan disaster because we cannot compare where it doesn't compete. And the M. Night Shyamalan disaster does not compare anywhere. It's not in the competition. It's been disqualified. My expectations already were on like the literal ocean floor, so I didn't have a lot of hope for this live action. But it did surprise me, and visuals were stunning. Absolutely stunning. I'm pretty sure that's where the entire budget went to, because it didn't go to the writing. It didn't go to the writing. It did not go to the writing. But yeah, I would give it like a solid 6 out of 10. I think they tried their best. No, actually no. I think they tried and they made an okay show. I genuinely would have loved if we just stuck to making more animated shows. It feels like no one wants to make animated shows anymore. It's annoying. At the end of the day, I'm just somebody who's a mega fan of the original. It will always have a very special place in my heart. But yeah, the new live action just didn't fully do it for me. In terms of should you go watch it, I feel like if you are somebody who's a mega fan, you can go for in terms of seeing how it compares, but I wouldn't say don't expect much. Visually, again, stunning. But yeah, if you're somebody who hasn't seen any of it, like any of the show, or like you haven't seen the original, you have no context whatsoever, give it a try. And then you go watch the original. And then you come back and tell me which one is better. Cool. Okay, that's my little rant video. I hope you've enjoyed this. This is not my first time doing this, but it's been a while since I've made a YouTube video. So tell me what you want to see next. What do you want me to talk about? I feel like I'm going to lean towards talking more about like movies and TV shows and films and maybe books as well. Just anything. That's kind of what I'm interested in and what I watch on YouTube. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.